Good evening, Internet, and welcome back to Bloodstone, a Four Dads 5th edition D&D adventure set in the Forgotten Realms. I am your Dungeon Master, 8BitPonies. I have with me 3 of the 5 members of our cast. Hey, gentlemen, how's it going?
Yo.
Hey.
Excellent.
Unfortunately, Draugg is unable to join us this evening. Draugg/Sprout, as he has something else going on this week and next, so he's going to be still gone for a couple of weeks. Makaria/Vamp should be joining us here momentarily. Dad detail trumps all, but we're going to go ahead. It has been long enough. It's been 4 weeks since the last time we played, and I'm chomping at the bit to get back to this game. I've been talking about on all of the other streams through the week. We gotta come check out Bloodstone because it's really heating up. Gotta come check out Bloodstone because it's really been awesome. And then we don't have Bloodstone for a month. 4 weeks.
It's been a little bit.
By that we will not be deterred. However, we are still going to. We're back now. I'm hoping that our last canceled session, or our last issue with the sessions, is behind us for a little bit. But illnesses and travel and all kinds of things, they just tend to get in the way. There's nothing we can do about it. Thank you for being patient with us. Thank you for coming back. Now we are actually streaming again, and I hope that you will enjoy tonight's session. Anything, gentlemen, before we get started with the recap?
Good luck remembering everything.
Oh my god. So many things that we don't have time for. Let's do it.
When last we left our intrepid group of adventurers, our party, Eldrick and his companion protectors, were in the process of assembling at Oakheart, the Oak family's ancestral manor in Heliogabalus, for the Ascension party. Baron Eldrick's formal reception celebrating his rise to the barony of Morov. A number of various personalities and personages have assembled, including a lot of the city of Heliogabalus' gentry, a number of the nobles, the High Lords of Morov, and a few extras from various parts of the Bloodstone Kingdom. Have all come together to help Eldrick celebrate his ascension to the barony. The party had just kicked off, and the Baron himself had not yet made an appearance, but a lot of strange happenings or strange occurrences had started to plague the party as they were preparing for this celebration. Once Thoros'l and Alanere and Sprout had made their way to an already roaring party, they noticed the courtyard was completely filled with several spectral furbolgs that seemed to follow the party with their eyes. More strangely still, no one else in the courtyard, apart from the party members, seemed to notice that they were there. Outside of that, and as unnerving as that was, outside of that, the Baron, resplendent in his new armor, a gift from his mother, is preparing with Makaria and Makaria to make his first grand appearance at the party and give the speech that he's been preparing for several days. You have been preparing a speech for several days, right?
Fact.
As Eldrick was collected by his mother, Eldrick Oks, and informed that it was time to address his guests, something else strange happened. Sprout, bedecked in very odd clothing, finery, completely unseen by the party prior to now, appeared up the stairs and dashed toward Eldrick and his mother. his spinning cane becoming the Rift Razor, his purplish, glowing, magical longsword with the ability to cut through the very planes of existence. As we begin tonight's session, we'll pick up exactly there, where the Eldrick and Makaria and Makaria turn to regard the strangely dressed Sprout as he leaps forward, sword drawn, to whatever end. Eldrick, you've got a split second to make some kind of reaction before, as you see the kind of wide-eyed, too wide smile, very strangely dressed Furbog advancing on your position, you and your mother, before as he begins to tense and leap toward you and Madeline. So what is the one thing that you would like to do prior to that happening?
Yeah, the minute Eldrick sees him step through the door with a weapon drawn, tackle him.
All right, so Eldrick rushes...
Just jump on him, grab him, and try to wrestle him to the floor.
Eldrick rushes forward to tackle Sprout. Go ahead and make me an attack roll.
I'll bet I can do that. That's going to be...
Well, he's rolling that. Now, I'd gotten a message from Eldrick, right?
That's correct. Thoros'l had just received, just maybe a few seconds before this, had received a message from Eldrick saying, "Come find me. Strangeness in the manor. Come find me." Not giving any specifics, but we'll get to exactly what that means for you just momentarily.
Sure.
That would be a 15.
All right. So you rush out, a diving tackle toward the bed that Makaria has been using these past few nights. As Sprout kind of rounds the side of it, you're going to attempt to tackle him forward onto the bed. There's a flash of purplish energy as you do so, and he closes the gap between where he was and onto the other side of Madeline, sword flashing through the position where Madeline is standing. He kind of turns as Eldrick kind of rushes forward and dives basically toward the bed. Sprout vanishes and reappears behind, kind of like a samurai slash, through where Madeline was just standing. And you hear a very strange sound as Makaria and Makaria seem completely stunned by this, eyes wide. You turn back around and you see a very clean line starting to darken with blood from the top of Madeline's right shoulder down through her chest and down to her left hip. And her eyes are not really fearful, just more startled. And she said, "Eldrick, what?" And the top half of her torso begins to slide. And she says no more. As she just... Her eyes kind of... Again, not fearful, not even necessarily registering pain, just kind of startled by the sudden movement. And you can see very clearly blood starting to pour from a very, very long, quite thorough wound across her midsection, and she begins to topple. What is the next thing that you do?
I'm grabbing this sumbitch.
So you turn back around. You get back up to your feet and turn around and dash back towards where Sprout is, and you find that he is no longer there. You're just that momentary breaking of the contact with him as you look towards your mother in concern. Sprout appears to have disappeared.
So Mama Oaks is in two pieces, eh?
Well, she's still standing, but she is just looking at you very, very questioningly. "Eldrick, what are you doing?"
I'm gonna head over and check her out. See if the Death Ward did its thing.
You still feel the presence of the Death Ward. It has not been triggered. Eldrick, I need an explanation. What is happening? What are you doing?
Did you not see Sprout in here just now?
Her eyes kind of go wide, and a look of supreme confusion crosses her face. And you kind of shake your head, and the garish, ghastly wound across her midsection is not there. What are you talking about? Sprout? What do you mean? Both of them. Maybe not so much Makaria. Makaria is standing there basically impassive, but Makaria's eyes are just saucers. Her mouth is kind of hanging open like she very clearly saw what you saw.
Interesting.
And she, almost as an afterthought, she rushes over to Madeline and starts looking her over as well. You see no trace of any wound. None whatsoever.
Interesting. All right, then. Well, just now, Eldrick will say to Madeline, I thought I saw my friend Sprout spring through that door with his sword drawn and slash you in half.
Her eyes just completely go, just her mind is completely boggled. What? Eldrick?
Yeah, it's kind of what I was thinking.
Eldrick, and she puts a hand on your face, like put both hands in your face. Are you okay? Is it the stress of this? We really need to get you downstairs. Are you okay? Makaria does not say a word. She's just looking at Madeline. She's just kind of shaking her head, like completely confused, the same way that you are.
I am fine, Mother. I am very curious what just happened. He's gonna head over to the windows over here and take a look down at the courtyard real quick to see if he still sees all the spectral furbogs down there.
All right, so you walk over there. As you do so, as you kind of pull away from your mother and kind of brush past Makaria, we're going to hop back down to the courtyard and Thoros'l. So you just got the message from Eldrick saying, come find me within the manor. Something strange is going on, or something to that effect. And what is your next move? What do you do? That's the wrong thing.
All right, I'll turn to Sprout, and unfortunately,
Sprout is not there.
He's not here.
You turn around.
Sprout's not there.
You turn around to see a very bewildered-looking Muckleberry looking back behind you as well. He turns back and says, well, that's odd. I guess I should follow him." He appears to be.
Where'd he go?
He appears to be looking back in this direction, back towards the entrance to the manor. You don't see, you kind of peer, around him and through the kind of the gateway area. You see a large kind of familiar-looking figure, the back of him, as he basically pushes past the two guards that are waiting there and disappears into the night at a high rate of speed. Muckleberry looks up at you. He's like, I guess I'll just... And he starts to follow.
I'll grab Muckleberry, just roll. Yeah. Find him and bring him back here. He has some answers.
Okay. Yeah. You're seeing this too, right? The guys.
I'm done talking to Muckleberry, so I shove him after I give him what I wanted to say.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We'll just. And he just kind of trails off as he turns and kind of sprints off after his companion, and both Muckleberry and Sprout have left Oakhart.
All right. Now I guess I'll turn to Alanere and say, "You're seeing this?"
And by that, I'm assuming you're referring to like all the ghostly furbolg.
I got a message, tap my ear, from Eldrick a moment ago. I'm gonna go find him. Can you take care of things down here?
I don't know how to take care of these.
I'm sure it'll become apparent or not in shortly, and I'll head off towards. I'm just kind of shoulder my way through the crowd towards the staircases up to Eldrick's suite or wherever he stays in this building that we've visited before.
Yeah. So you're going essentially to this stairwell. It's down here at the bottom part of the map. That is a stairwell that goes right up to the rooms that Eldrick has been taking. You pass by a couple of dwarves who seem to be in kind of hushed conversation between the two of them. You pay them no mind, and they kind of look at you warily as you go by, but they decide with a look on your face that they don't have any desire to get in your way. In fact, they take a few steps away from the doorway whenever it becomes apparent that that's what you're going for. And
do I clock in guards on this door or in this staircase? Because I mean, do I clock any house guards for that matter?
There are a number of people that you know to be house guards that are, they're dressed in the full livery of House Oks and are kind of milling through, but directly posted on the door, no, there's no one there.
Interesting. Okay. I'll make my way up with haste. Not necessarily running, but I'm not loitering, that's for sure.
Right. So, Alanere, as you kind of share a couple of very terse instructions or very terse conversation with Thoros'l, and he turns and starts towards the door, you see a trio of figures that are not entirely unfamiliar to you, but people you haven't seen in quite some time, making their way over to you. You see a dark-haired woman and a blonde woman who are dressed very similarly in the, we'll say, alluring and revealing garments of a priestess of Sunni. And between the two of them, a young man who you also know, similarly dressed, in a very very stylish, very well cut, well accompanied set of clothing. He's kind of got like a very reddish purple kind of half cape over one shoulder. His blonde hair is kind of artfully tousled or tossed, and something new, something you haven't seen before. The beginnings of a small, tidy beard on his face. His very smiling face as the three of them, Stana, Fionn, and Diergo, begin to make their way over toward you. And you recognize them, or you at least notice them, kind of at first glance whenever you walked in. They were previously with a ash blonde woman that you do not know, and a younger red-haired woman that you do, but you had a little bit of a shock at kind of the transformation of that particular character, one Lady Miranda Kanar. But the three of them come over, and Diergo is all smiles, and he kind of puts his hands out, kind of like he's going to come in for a hug. My friend! Oh, it has been entirely too long.
Did any of them end up walking through some of the ghostly furbolg to get to me?
Yes, absolutely. And in fact, as Diergo opens his mouth to talk, there is a kind of a bulbous nose of one of the halfling men who he has just passed through. That very, very briefly, but as he opens his mouth, you see the nose of this furbolg that he has just passed through. And then he steps through it, and for its part, the spectral furbolg does not appear to notice, but neither has Diergo, Fionn, or Stana noticed that they have just briefly converged with this small cluster of spectral furbolgs.
Yeah, so all of Alanere's reactions will be half a second delayed as he's kind of almost tuning in and out of looking at the spectral versions in them. So like, as Diego comes up for a hug, it's kind of like a, oh yeah, like almost like he got startled and will return the hug.
He gives you a big, just a big, full-bodied, like not, he's a smallish kind of guy, so it's not like a bear hug, but he wraps you
Yeah.
up, and it is a very warm, very seemingly very emphatic, enthusiastic embrace. The two women are kind of standing back behind, and you make eye contact with Fionn for a moment, and there's just this kind of moment that passes between the two of you as you've had some, we'll say, shared history. But it's been about a month, a little bit more than a month since the last time that you've seen each other. As Diego lets you go, he's talking, but you're barely even hearing the words. You've already begun to tune him out again, as is your wont. And Stana comes up and gives you a hug, and then Fionn lingers kind of till last, but she comes up and gives you a very warm, very prolonged embrace as well. And Diego's still talking. And as you're kind of holding on to Fionn, or maybe she's holding on to you, and you glance back at Diego, you see a ripple. Something strange. It's almost as though, actually, make me a perception check, just real quick.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, you had
Oh, a 28.
28. Yeah, so you definitely pick up on it. So as you're kind of holding on, looking over Fionn's shoulder, and Diego is just running off at the mouth. He's talking about how it's awful that Mauricio wasn't able to come, but he's so busy now with the establishment of his manor, and really that it was only due to the insistence of the Baroness that they were able to come as well. So busy they are currently with the House of Rubies, and that is Vamp. So let me take just a brief moment there and get cameras fixed for Vamp's arrival. So welcome, Vamp.
Hello.
Good to have you. Let's see. Bear with me just a second, guys, as I try to get this thing fixed. Nope, that's not right. There we go. And then gotta fix Zale. Great. All right. So all fixed there. So yeah, as Diego is just kind of he's not really even making eye contact with you. He's just kind of glancing around the party a little bit, but he's still talking. But as he does so, you see just kind of a ripple pass across his face, as though the skin on his face just kind of moved, just kind of a rippling effect over his face. But it passes, and there's a little bit of a, like I said, like a prolonged embrace, a little bit of a squeeze by Fionn, and she smells fantastic, by the way, and feels warm and very inviting. And she kind of draws back to kind of arm's length and looks up in your face, and attempts to give you a kiss. Did we lose Alanere?
You know what? No. Honestly, at this point, because especially seeing the ripple of Diego's face, he's probably not reacting quite as fast. So if she's coming in, like he's probably like not even moving, like to like get out of the way, and basically whenever she comes in and like when she gives me a kiss, and it's probably like a half second later, then I'll kind of return it. But
Okay.
like he's just at this point, there's a lot going on, and he's just not reacting quickly.
Right.
So,
all right. So we'll take just a second from that. We'll go back to Thoros'l, who's on his way up the stairs, and makes his way up the stairs from the bottom floor to the second floor, just outside of the set of rooms that that Eldrick and Makaria are using in this wing of the manor. This is we'll come back to the large kind of sitting room or entertaining room that you had the meeting with the wardens of the White Tree. That's the room that it lets out into, and you know that there's just a short step down the corridor from there will take you into the room that is Makaria's. The door to the doorways through this this part of the house are open at the moment, and you can hear that there's some kind of not heated but some raised voices in the room, chiefly Madeline, and she's saying something in a very high, very shrill voice to Eldrick.
All right. I'll make sure my swords are loose, but I won't draw yet, and make my way into the room. Oh, you're pulling me. Okay.
I got you. Yep. I'm hands off from this point forward. You've got it from here.
Oh, that's fine.
So as Eldrick, as you go to the windows and start looking out over the courtyard, you see Alanere and the 3 Sunites that you are familiar with. You see the same set of guests, quite a nice turnout in different times you might consider, and the horde of spectral furbolgs.
Is the horde doing anything?
Just standing, and as you start looking out the window, they appear to turn and face you.
It's so creepy.
So creepy.
Oh, Makaria, for your benefit, since you weren't here before, Sprout leapt, attacked, appeared to bisect Madeline, and as Eldrick leapt to try to tackle him before he could get to Madeline, he teleported, appeared directly in front of you and Makaria, slashed through Madeline, and then as you're reacting to that, you look at her, you can see a very ghastly wound from the top of her, from her right shoulder down to her left hip, beginning to bleed profusely. She didn't even seem to notice the attack and started asking Eldrick what he was doing, because he dove across the room onto the bed trying to tackle Sprout and missing. And then as you look to her and then back to Sprout, Sprout had vanished, and then so did the wound. Madeline never even seemed to notice that Sprout was in the room. You did, and Makaria did, but before you had really an opportunity to act at all, the attack happened, and then apparently unhappened. And Eldrick and his mother are having a very confused conversation about exactly what just happened. And then Thoros'l bursts into the room.
Like you do.
Yep. I just kind of walk in and turn the corner to see what's going on.
Yeah, so you see Madeline standing next to Makaria standing just behind Eldrick, who is very furtively peering out the window, the large set of windows looking out over the courtyard.
What's Eldrick? I'll say Eldrick. Kind of ignoring the rest of the people in the room.
Eldrick will turn towards Thoros'l. Something odd. It appeared that Sprout came through that door over there, darted past me, teleported past me, and slashed Madeline, my mother Madeline, in half. She appears no worse for wear, and he has vanished. So, confusion is currently the name of the game.
Sprout was down with us until I think he saw maybe his family or whatever's going on in the courtyard, and then he ran the other way. Muckleberry's after him, but who knows? Maybe he'll go hook up with his other group or whatever he does. Makaria, are you seeing this? And he'll gesture towards the courtyard.
Makaria will turn to Eldrick. Who are you talking to? And then Makaria will just shake her head a little bit. Yes, I see all of this as well. I was not fast enough to act before and she'll look at Eldrick, Phantom of Sprout attacked.
Madeline puts a hand on Makaria's shoulder and says, "Could someone please explain to me what is happening right now? Besides the party getting away from us? Eldrick, please. Your address." "I'm fine, clearly. I don't know what you're talking about. Someone attacking me, but I'm clearly okay. We're all okay here now. Could we please?" She kind of gestures towards the doorway that Sprout came from.
Yes, we should go.
Did I just as I'm before thinking through this? Did I see what's his face, Durbin Holy, on my way up?
On your way up the stairs? No. You know that the last place you saw Holy, he was standing vigil on the far side of the courtyard at the main entrance to the Manor's Great Hall.
Okay. It seems odd to me you don't have any guards on the passageways up here or anything like that. I saw Durbin on the other side of the courtyard, but if you're worried about people getting to your mother, you might want to get your house guard a little tighter.
You are not wrong.
Well, the guards are... Madeline will speak up. Most of the house guard are downstairs in the courtyard keeping track of the guests. There shouldn't be anyone up here anyway, including us, Eldrick. We really need to go and address your guests. And if it makes you feel better, she comes over and kind of gives you kind of like a motherly smile, but you can see that there's a little bit of a hard line, like kind of her jaw is set. She's starting to reach that timbre in her voice where you know it is not a good idea to argue with her going forward. If it makes you feel better, she kind of comes over and kind of attaches herself to your arm. And as she does that, you feel a horrifying pain as she touches kind of your waist. There's a shifting of something in your armor, and then just maybe 100 points of pure agony throughout your body as what seems like 100 nails inside your armor drive themselves into your body. I need you to make me a Constitution saving throw.
Holy swizzle sticks. Okay, well, right. So where's my dice roll?
So the rest of you see as Madeline touches Eldrick, he convulses and his eyes kind of go foggy for a second. And there's a beginning of a natural one. That is a natural one. Eldrick goes to his knees. So his mother touches him. There is a kind of a start. Eldrick convulses and he goes down to his knees, and then immediately just blood starts to pour out from literally every part of his armor and just begins to puddle beneath him on the floor. And his eyes are just kind of fixed, and he's just staring straight ahead, and blood starts to run, like he coughs, blood starts to pour out of his mouth, down out of his nose, and just everywhere where there's a seam in his armor, blood just starts gushing out.
Oh my! I pull Madeline off of him and bodily just yank her off and basically toss her to Makaria, and then I have my dagger out and I'm cutting his armor off.
What
I will cast Dispel Magic on her.
On Makaria or on Madeline? Okay.
Yep, as she comes into my arms.
So
I have a theory in my mind.
All right, so there are a couple of things going on all at once. So Thoros'l rushes across the room to Eldrick. Eldrick, you bodily toss Madeline Oks into Makaria's arms. She protests immediately. What? kind of gives a short shriek as she's forcibly hauled away from Eldrick and tossed at Makaria. Makaria, you're going to start casting a spell. Thoros'l, you get to Eldrick, and you don't know what it is, but just the temporary breaking of the plane between, as you grab you grab Madeline and toss her away, and you turn back to look at Eldrick, and you pull your dagger. The blood is gone. There's no blood. There doesn't appear to be any wound on Eldrick at all. No blood. Like, just seconds ago, like a split second ago, just pouring blood down the golden armor, like, and starting to pool quite alarmingly on the floor. But you break the plane of vision with Eldrick for a split second, and you look back, and you go at him with the dagger, and you realize there is no blood. Eldrick, you are, like, for your part, blinding pain one instant, and then nothing. You kind of lose focus as this pain overtakes you. You feel yourself kind of sag down to your knees, and the next you see Thoros'l standing over you with a dagger, and you hear your mother shriek. Your spell goes off, Makaria, and
Okay.
what are you expecting to happen?
My theory is that she in of herself is a catalyst to something, or that there's an illusion on her, so I am trying to break a magical effect.
Okay. Very
I
cool.
don't know what it is, so I'm just kind of targeting her area.
So quickly,
at 4th level.
Okay, at 4th level. Very quickly, I'm going to look at I've got to grab the rules for Dispel Magic, because there is a magical effect that I will have to we'll have to contest with your spell. So bear with me just a second as I pull up Dispel Magic.
Death Ward is level 4.
In the chest.
Okay.
Or in the chat.
So roll me a spellcasting ability check using your spellcasting ability, Makaria.
All right. And since I am Abjuration, I get to add my
Proficiency bonus.
proficiency.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
DC on this spell effect is 14. Okay.
So 16
So-
plus.
So you feel
yeah.
you feel your abjurative magic, the spell, crash against some kind of spell effect on Madeline and break through. Eldrick, what snaps you out of the feeling that you were just having, just the pure agony, is you feel the death ward on your mother drop, and all of a sudden you're back to full clarity. You hear the sound of Madeline's voice raised in alarm, and the first thing that you see is Thoros'l advancing on you with a dagger.
Normal.
Yeah, what is it, Saturday?
Like it was only a matter of time.
I'm going to stand up and grab Thoros'l's hand.
Okay.
I don't resist.
Okay.
This.
So as you're surging toward Eldrick, Thoros'l, you see the blood is gone. He stands up and he grabs your wrist as you're coming forward with the dagger to try to cut off his armor. And there's just kind of a moment that passes. You guys, your eyes meet. Supreme confusion reigns in both men's faces, but Eldrick does not appear to be wounded in any way. And the only sound in the room at the moment is just the kind of alarmed shriek from Madeline as she yells your name, Eldrick.
Flip the dagger backwards and then go to move the hand off my wrist.
You guys hear me?
Say what?
Sorry.
Oh, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Yeah, we hear you now.
Yep.
Say what happened.
As you do that, Eldrick's going to hand you a vial, and he's going to message directly into your head. Something weird is happening. Durbin gave me 2 of these. And then a second message, because I only get 20 words or some crap. he tells me that it will give true sight for 1 hour. I can't use it because if I notice one of the nobles is something they're not, I will react. And this is not the time for that. But it might behoove you to use it. And for everybody else, he's basically staring longingly at Thoros'l for about 15, 20 seconds while he's teleporting this information directly into his head. Love
My
you,
Makaria will be trying
analyst.
to calm your mom down.
It's a good call. One other thing he's going to add is you need to smear it on your eyes, and I would definitely make sure Alanere's around so you can see if it works.
Take the vial and put it in my like a waist belt loop thing or whatever. I don't know, fantasy inventory.
One of your many cargo pockets.
Yeah.
So as this is going on between the two of you, there's just this long moment where you're just staring longingly into one another's eyes. Madeline is just incensed at this, and she very roughly pulls away from you, Makaria. What is happening right now? He looks at, let go of me! Eldrick, what? Someone tell me what's going on!
We're okay.
Madeline.
We're all right.
Madeline, you need to sit down, take a breath. There is magic happening that none of us can explain right now. Breathe. Please let Makaria take you to a chair.
She looks like she's about to argue for a second, and she glances at Makaria rather, and then back at Eldrick, and then back to Makaria, and just kind of, okay, but I need an explanation. And Makaria starts to pull her away, and she allows herself to be led to a chair, and they come over here to the one chair that is remaining in the room, and she sits down, she's looking, Eldrick, can you please resolve this quickly? Your guests are waiting, son.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. We need to go. You are 100% correct. He's going to look to Thoros'l and Makaria. That last one really hurt, really hurt. I was not aware it was an illusion until I snapped out of it. Also, that spell was mine. I'm going to walk over to Madeline and do another prayer to my boy Ilmater to put another death ward on Madeline.
She grabs you by the hand as you reach out to touch her, and she looks up into your face, and her eyes are just pleading at this point. It's like, can you please explain to me what is going on?
We're all having odd, likely magically induced hallucinations. They are going to figure out what's going on while you and I go tend to our very, very important guests.
You, sure. I'll ignore Madeline and talk to Eldrick. What? Did you see the blood pouring out of your body?
I assume I did, yeah.
You very likely looked down
felt
to see.
it, right?
Yeah, you 100% felt it.
Yeah, I felt it. Yeah, very much so. It was not great. I didn't go to one knee for no reason. Good Sir Thoros'l. It hurt very much. Felt very real. Anyway, she and I have to go. Otherwise, questions will be asked that we don't need asked. I'd really appreciate if the four of you could, or the three of you plus, where is Alanere? He's down in the Rosegard.
Down in the Rosegard, figuring out the rest of this mess.
Excellent. Yes, we need to know why we're all seeing things. Why we're all seeing things. But lots of guests. Important guests. Dangerous guests. You need to go deal with them. Mother, if I may, you'll hold an arm to escort her.
She hesitates. And then she takes a moment, and there's almost like she looks at you, and then there's a very concerned mother's look on her face for maybe 3 seconds as she's looking up at you, just like not sure what to even say at this point in time, because the conversation that's going on around her is so far above her. And then there's just a moment where something clicks, and the concern and the confusion, everything just melts away, and she fixes this very genteel, very practiced smile onto her face, and takes you by the hand, and she gives you a look. You can see the look on her face says, "We are going to talk about this later, young man." But she allows herself to be led from the room.
Excellent. Well, I'm going to take her to the stairs down that are on the. Where am I at? Hold on a second. Map. Over there,
Yep.
where it's being clicked. Yep, those stairs to head on down. As we're heading out, Eldrick's gonna take a second while they're walking to kind of put on his game face, and while doing so, he's gonna say, "Something bad is happening. We don't know what. It doesn't seem to be affecting any of the guests or you. Don't worry, my friends are professionals. They'll figure it out. We have a different task, as you are well aware."
For a fraction of a
Hope I'm up
second,
to it.
for a fraction of a second, the kind of facade that she has put on slips, and there's a very real concern that crosses her face again. Yes, we have much to do. And she kind of puts a hand, as you're kind of leading her toward the stairs, she kind of puts a hand up and kind of grasps your forearm and just gives it a little squeeze. But she says no more. And you make it down to the first floor, the ground floor, with Madeline, where Durban Holy is waiting just on the other side of the courtyard, or so the Great Hall. And he steps in and he sees the two of you coming, and there's very clear. Oh, hang on a second. Let me switch over. I just realized that I switched it for me, but I didn't switch it for you guys. There's very clear anxiety and maybe annoyance on his face, but then a kind of a sigh of relief as the two of you come into view, and he kind of gestures toward the doorway. He says, "I believe that most of your guests have arrived, Baron. Your Excellency. Would you care to accompany me so that you may, I guess, address your guests?"
Out loud, Eldrick will say, "Certainly," and he'll head over that way with Madeline. As we're crossing the room, I'm going to do something I haven't done with Durban before. I'm going to hit him with a message directly into his brain dome, basically filling him in that something bad is happening. We don't know what it is, but I and at least two of my companions are having odd hallucinations. If I start acting weird, he needs to help me make sure that I'm checked into reality, basically, and that my friends are currently attempting to figure out what the heck is going on.
Okay. We're gonna.
Oh, and
go ahead.
Madeline is aware that this is happening, but she's trying to get into game face, so I don't want to bring it up around her again.
So this is the first time that you've reached out to Master Holy with your telepathy.
It is. Yep.
Most of the time, when people do that, or when people hear your voice inside their heads for the first time, there's a reaction, a psychological reaction. They're startled, or they look at you. Their eyes go wide, something like that, because they can hear you talking, but they can't see your lips moving. It's their minds are trying to adjust to the fact that you're speaking inside their brains, or inside their minds. Durbin, whenever you do this to him for the first time, his eyes are already on you, and you see just a very, very slight kind of like a widening of his eyes. But then it changes almost immediately to concentration, as though he's trying to fully grasp what it is that you're saying. He has no outward reaction beyond just a very slight, kind of like just a very, very temporary look of surprise as you start unsettling in and of itself. But he waits until you're finished, and he nods wordlessly. We're going to step back across the building, or back across the courtyard to Alanere now, who has been waiting patiently with.
I'm going to step away for a second.
Sure.
Sorry.
With some of the other companions. So after Fionn kind of, she breaks the kiss, and she steps back, not completely at arm's length, but kind of just still kind of inside the reach, just inside your reach, where her body is still fully in connection with yours. And she whispers something to the effect of, "It's been a long month. I've missed you. You should try to find some time to come to Praka when you're able. We're doing a great deal of good work there, as I'm sure Diergo will tell you." And Diergo is still talking, completely oblivious to everything else that's going on. He's just talking as though whatever he has to say is the most important thing that is transpiring in this entire courtyard. Completely oblivious to the fact that you don't appear to be listening to him at all.
Yeah. Alanere will kind of keep, the lower whisper to her, and he'll say, whenever my busy schedule gives me time, I will be sure to visit.
She seems to be pleased by that. Gives you a little bit of a squeeze. Her arm kind of makes its way around your waist and kind of brings herself in close, where she's still very much in contact with you, and kind of puts an arm around your waist to hold you close as she kind of turns alongside you to listen to, or not, but to continue to as Diergo continues talking. Stana kind of just Stana does Stana. She is kind of standing there, practiced with a practiced impassive air, not just kind of taking in the party, and she kind of makes eye contact with you very, very briefly and gives you a little bit of a nod. This is after the very short embrace, and then kind of looks back to Diergo, and then back to you, and she kind of gives a little bit of a roll of the eyes. And kind of wordlessly, she looks around, makes a show of looking around you, and seeing, and then looks back toward the door where Thoros'l went.
I will, because a ripple bothered me, so I will kind of actually interrupt Diergo and be like, excuse me, Diergo, quick change of topic. I wonder, what do you know about doppelgangers? And I'm looking very specifically for any kind of reaction.
Okay. Make me an insight check.
All right. Inside. All right. Dice, don't let me down. Ooh, nat 20. That's a 30 total.
That is a natural 20 for a grand total of 30 on the insight check.
Alanere knows all.
Alanere is he's dialed in tonight, boys. Let me tell you. Diergo, whenever you interrupt him, his mouth snaps shut, and there's immediate fire that jumps into his eyes as he's not accustomed to being interrupted. But as you start talking, kind of over him, and you ask him the question, the kind of anger or annoyance in his face shifts to confusion, and then wariness, and then fear. Doppelgangers? Whatever do you mean? And he starts looking around. It's like, wait, are you suggesting what I think you're suggesting?
Alanere just kind of smile and says, depends on what you think I'm suggesting.
Could there be doppelgangers here? I recall he raises kind of leans in, gets a little bit closer to you, leans in very conspiratorially. I recall Mauricio speaking of another such soiree where the host was replaced by one of those creatures. Do you believe that has Eldrick been replaced by a doppelganger? Do you believe?
Oh, Eldrick. Oh, heavens, no.
Well, you certainly can't be suggesting that I... He looks around at Stana and just outrage plain on his face. But also fear. He's really not, with your 20 insight, he's really not sure how to feel right now. Number one, you've insulted him by cutting off his story. Number two, you have put the fear in him that there may, in fact, be doppelgangers here. Number three, you've angered him by insinuating subtly, or maybe not so subtly, that he might be a doppelganger. So just a mix of emotions pass over his face for a second, and then for the first time since you've known him, he just stops talking and starts just kind of looking around, kind of very, very nervously, kind of stroking his beard, his fledgling, just starting to come in beard, and just kind of standing very, very unsure of himself. But with a 20 insight, you are able to glean that these emotions are in fact genuine. This is not like if there is not a doppelganger born that can feign outrage and this kind of confusion and outrage and fear and anger all in such rapid succession, in such a way that you've seen from Diego Esteban Karn. Karn Esteban,
So,
sorry.
in any sense of fear is more of like, wait, are they here at this party? Not oh crap.
Genuine fear
I think you found me out.
at the possibility that there may be doppelgangers here and that the party may be in danger of being ruined. Not so much that he's in danger or that the party goers might be in danger, but that the party might be ruined before it truly gets started. And yeah, but not fear at potentially having been found out. It's not defensive fear so much as like true bowel clenching terror that the party might be interrupted.
Gotta have those priorities.
Alanere trying to calm him a bit and say, why? We do believe there are some in the city. We have taken precautions here.
As you are speaking, and trying to explain yourself, something strikes you in the face. It's very, very soft, just a very quick touch, and kind of breaks the plane of your gaze between you and Diego for a second, and it kind of crosses in front of your eyes and touches your face, and it momentarily distracts you, and you look down, and it's a leaf, and you would expect, given your proximity to the tree that's next to you, that it would be a golden leaf, but it is black and it is seething with corruption. And what do you do?
So I guess it's like the leaf, kind of blow past me or something.
It just kind of it's as though it is carried on a breeze. It just kind of strikes you in the cheek and then just kind of flutters off. And you look down, maybe maybe as it hits you in the face, your reflexes are to the point where you reach up and catch it, and you look down at your hand or at the leaf itself as it flutters away from you, and you can see, rather than being a golden leaf, which would be the only tree in the courtyard that could produce a leaf, it should be, by its very nature, one of those golden leaves. However, it is a black leaf, and it is literally seething in your hand with corruption. Rot.
So yeah, at this point, like as I'm probably like in the middle of my explanation of we've taken precautions, and then like I catch this kind of leaf and look, like I'm like immediately stop what I'm saying, and like now I'm looking up at the big oak tree in the center to like.
It is writhing. Absolutely, the tree itself is writhing. The leaves have gone from a golden color, like the early or middle of autumn, or just the beginning, from turning from green to golden, to the leaves for the most part are just this awful, sickening blackish green, and the trunk itself appears to be swaying, like almost writhing in agony. And the party goes on around it as if no one notices. You have this heart-sick feeling as this beautiful tree, only moments ago, was healthy, hale, and the centerpiece of this entire locale, and it has gone in just an instant to a blackened, rotting mass of corruption. And the tree clearly appears to be in pain. Like palpable, physical, noticeable pain.
As I kind of almost get a look of horror on my face, I'm going to basically start looking, like, kind of go from the tree to looking around at the spirits to see if they're, like, more pronounced or there's any change in them.
So you start looking around from the tree out to the fir bogs. The fir bogs are just still standing completely motionless, completely still, impassively staring back at you. Excuse me. At that moment, Eldrick and the door to the main hall opens. Durbin Holy steps forth, and hot on his heels are the Baron Eldrick Oks and his mother Madeline Oks, arm in arm, and the party the music starts to die down, and the guests at the party turn to notice the Baron making his grand entrance, and they begin to applaud. Thoros'l, Makaria, and Makaria, still up on the upper floor. You're maybe 30 seconds removed from Madeline and Eldrick having left the room. What are you doing?
I think the first thing Thoros'l's going to do is apply the potion, whatever it is, to his eyeballs, and while he's doing that, he'll listen to whatever Makaria's got to say about the situation. What are your thoughts here? And I'll start. Whatever
is causing this, I'm thinking less magical and more psychological, more psychic, more conducive to the mind flares and how they attack. It's not something I can easily trace.
I think it's coming from Eldrick.
To himself or the stone?
I'll look at Makaria and then back to you. I don't think he's trying to do it. I don't know what's causing it, but he felt a pain, and then he started spewing blood, and then when he snapped out of it, it stopped.
There's a stinging sensation in your eyes, Thoros'l, as you start to apply this ointment. and your eyes sting, and they start to water, and you're forced to close them for a moment. But whenever you open them again, it's just like you can see through time. There's something, there's just like kind of like a whitish blue cast to everything. It's very clearly the magic or whatever it is beginning to take effect, and you start to see things. You start to see the magical auras around several pieces of equipment that Makaria is carrying. You start to see. It's like your senses are hyper focused. You can see perhaps a tiny spider that is just emerged from a crack in the plaster at the top of or near the ceiling, and has begun to wend its way down the wall. You can see it's almost as though there is like an extra light in the room, like a bluish light that it appears to be emanating from you, and it casts everything in a slightly different shadow. What was very strange, very odd to you is that as you look at Makaria for the first time after like opening your eyes, make me a perception check, please.
Sure. 22.
22. There's something off almost immediately as you look at Makaria and Makaria. There's something off. You can see upon looking at Makaria for the first time, you can see within her there is a very clear difference between her, like a metaphysical difference between her and Makaria. You can almost see that in this new sight, Makaria looks like a doll that is painted to look like Makaria. You can see that she is a magical construct that is not a real person, and in fact is not even alive. She is fueled and created by magic. And you can see that there is a kind of a blackish purple tether that is running from the center of Makaria's forehead to the center of Mykaria's forehead. Neither of them seem to acknowledge or notice its existence, but you can see it as clear as day. And then, even stranger still, is that as this kind of bluish light seems to be emanating out from you, it casts a shadow. Makaria and Makaria cast a shadow, but it's not their shadow. As their two shadows kind of merge, it turns into something entirely different. A huge, hulking creature with enormous ram's horns.
And that's just their shadow, right?
Just the shadow.
Two different. Makaria herself.
You can see around Makaria's brow, like where you see the two horns kind of start at her temples and kind of sweep back like ram's horns. But in the center of her brow, there is just this crackling blackish purple energy. It's very, very faint, almost unnoticeable, but you just see this flicker of blackish purple. And Vamp, you had your hand up. I'll give you a second.
No, that was just the
sweep back.
The horn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like this, as you continue to focus on it, as you're looking at Makaria, the purplish energy kind of crackles, and in the moments where it kind of flares, you can see this this jagged black and purple crown begin to form at around Makaria's brow, just over the horns. And it's translucent, it's spectral, but it is very clearly there as the energy kind of crackles around her.
Right. As I'm taking this in, I'll try to continue the conversation with Makaria before we head down for the speech. So, what do you think? What do you think's going on? Is it Eldrick? Something that he's carrying, or something that he is?
Something that's pulling him to make him a catalyst. I worry that this speech should not happen. he should not be in front of people. I think something is being drawn here to make use of the situation.
It's
Well,
as she says that.
he-
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
As she says that,
Go
you
ahead.
begin to hear the sounds of applause from outside.
Well, let's go down and try to clean up after Eldrick one more time.
Okay.
So we'll walk quickly down the way I came and
Mhm.
try to come back out in the courtyard. With hope. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna make sure Makaria is coming with, but I'm not her master or anything, so.
Yeah, she'll be following.
All right. So the three of you make your way back down. I'm gonna grab all three of you and take you to the first floor. So,
Demons walking side by side with Thoros'l into the courtyard in the speech. This should be great.
all right. Just a second. Takes a little bit on this app to get everything moved, so bear with me. So you guys come out through the stairway door just as the applause starts to die down, and you see Eldrick standing with his mother. Durban Holy kind of moves off to one side. Several of the nobles that were standing around kind of step back to give Eldrick a little bit of space as he begins to address his guests. Alanere, you notice as the applause the applause starts to come up, and Eldrick starts to make his way out in front of the assembled party. Thoros'l, Makaria, then Makaria make their way out through the side door that they came through, and Fionn kind of her grip on you kind of tightens, and she says, "What is it? What's wrong?"
I'm at this point. Am I still seeing like all the black leaves and writhing trees?
Yes.
Just kind of like still kind of looking up at the tree. Just say something's not right. Spirits are not right here.
You feel a very gentle hand kind of caress the side of your face, and very, very gently, like, kind of pull your gaze away from the tree, down to her. She says, and look her in the eyes, and her face is very, very close to yours, and she says, "What can I do? How can I help?" And as she says those words, you begin to notice the points of a quartet of horns start to poke out of the sides of her face, like right above her cheekbones and right out of her temples. They begin to just grow outward, and a cluster. First it's just a quartet, and then it's a cluster of these jagged black horns start to poke free from her face and grow out around her, and her face becomes this. It's beautiful. I mean, how could it not be? But also very disturbingly horrible. But there is genuine concern in her eyes, even as her face changes into that of a nightmare.
He's kind of at the same time going to say, I'm still working that out. At the same time, almost kind of like gently pushing her away.
All right. So we just
I don't
lost.
know if my brain's about to get sucked out.
We just lost Souls. Unfortunately, he's having some internet issues, so he'll be right back. I think in this moment we'll take a short break, give him a second to get back, and then whenever we come back, we'll give it a 2-minute break. Hope that he comes back. Whenever we come back, we'll begin with Eldrick beginning to give his speech. So stick with us for just one more moment, or just 2 more minutes, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Sorry about that. Just had to take a really short break. In the meantime, I have very nearly drowned myself with my water jug, and have to step away for a moment. But we're going to dive right back into the action. I want to establish or maintain the pace and the mood, so we're going to dive right back in where we left off. Thoros'l, you had just stepped out through the doorway back into the courtyard, and you're kind of looking out through the crowd as they've all turned to face Eldrick, and Eldrick is, I don't know if Eldrick, if you're waving or whatever it is that you're doing to kind of establish your presence. But Thoros'l,
Nodding, folks.
yeah, Thoros'l, you clock Eldrick, and then you turn to look for Alanere. And you see Alanere, and in the glow, the kind of the bluish glow of this new light that you have come to realize is the spell, and is kind of casting things in a different view. You see Alanere, but you also see Alanere's features that are as familiar as you've seen. But you also see kind of beneath that there's another face and another kind of person. I mean, the secondary person underneath the Alanere facade is a little bulkier, and you clock immediately that it is a human. He's a little plainer. His hair is, remind me again, Alanere, what is Ather's hair color?
Oh, I think it's actually like... Crap. It's been so long, I forgot.
It's a more natural hair color for a human rather than the green of Alanere Nightsky.
I think it's like a brown or a black.
Yeah. So there's very clearly two personas that are represented, and you see both of them. You see that this human wears this outside facade of Alanere Nightsky. You can see it for what it is now. It's very clearly a disguise, and it is a magical disguise of some power. But you're more struck by the look of just abject horror on his face, and you follow his eye line to what he's looking at. He's looking up and away as the three Sunites are standing around him. He's not even aware of their presence. He's looking up at the tree, and you turn to see the tree, and you see exactly what I explained to Alanere. It is the tree once, just the last time you saw it, green going to gold, in the early stages of changing for winter. This magnificent large oak tree, black leaves seething with corruption, and the trunk and branches veritably writhing, with shot through with these black and purple veins.
So I see this whole with the...
You see it all.
It's not like an illusion. Okay, so and it's not... Okay. Do I still see the furbolgs?
You do still see the furbolgs.
Okay.
And they all, in lockstep, turn to face you.
No. F them. I'll deal with them later. Just scanning the room then, I'll make my way towards Alanere. Do I see anybody else that seems to be disguised similarly to Alanere, or... Because I've seen Aether before. I've seen his...
Yes.
He's dropped his illusion for us before.
That's true.
But is there anybody else that is not as they appear? Just scanning real quick.
Kind of scanning the crowd, you see mostly what you expect to see. You don't see anybody else wearing an obvious magical disguise. However, there's the woman that is standing, one of the three women standing near Miranda, the woman in purple. She very clearly has some illusion magic about her. It appears to be augmenting her physique. It's not as obvious to your sight as what you're seeing with Ather, or Alanere, where he's wearing a complete disguise on top of himself. But you can see that the Baroness Sylvia is a bit older, a few more lines, little less perky, little less of everything than she appears. But that appears to be it. That you don't see anyone else that does not it appears to be something other than what they are. You do see a smattering of like magical items, magical auras around various people, posted throughout the room, or throughout the courtyard rather. But nothing that immediately draws your eye as a threat necessarily.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess that clears at least a little bit the doppelganger menace for the moment.
As you're kind of scanning the crowd, and your eyes kind of as you go back towards Ather, he's having a very very short conversation, or a very quiet conversation, or just a few words that he's exchanging with Fionn, and you begin to see these horns start to grow out of Fionn's face. And as you're looking at that, you notice you have this unearthly feeling that someone else is watching you, and you turn just very slightly to see that Stana is standing less than 10 feet away from you, and your eyes meet, and then there's just this moment between the two of you, and you see that her face also has these projections that they don't look like the sharp horns that are coming out of Fionn's face, but there are these like these pustules that start to grow even as you watch her, and her eyes kind of meet yours, and like I said, there's this kind of reaction on her face as she sees you, and your eyes meet, and then her face just starts to kind of close in almost as these pustules start to grow and swell and dominate her face. And then Eldrick. The next thing you hear is Eldrick's voice as the crowd begins to die down, the music stops, the applause dies out, and Eldrick's voice raises up over the crowd.
Eldrick will be led to wherever it is that Madeline's leading him. And he will look about the crowd, kind of stand up straight,
I can't hear him.
Oh,
Can you guys not hear me? Hello?
Can we not hear Eldrick?
Test.
I can hear him.
I can hear him.
I hear him.
Hang on just a second.
Can you hear me on stream?
Okay.
Question mark?
Okay. Yeah, the stream hears you.
Okay. Excellent. You want me to pause for a second or go?
No, go ahead. I think you're
Go
okay.
ahead. I just muted him and unmuted him. And then
Oh no! Okay, we ready to go?
Go for it.
Sorry, I missed everything you said.
There we go, my big moment. It's all over. It's all ruined. Eldrick runs into the back weeping. All right. Eldrick stands up straight, trying to look as regal as he can. The armor's probably helping a lot. Greetings to you all. I am honored to be among so many leaders of our people. I greet you, high lords and ladies of Morov, for we have much to discuss in the coming days. I give thanks to you, officials and heads of Heliogabalus, for your city is the jewel of our nation, and your attendance here is most welcome. I hold great reverence for you, the faithful representatives and leaders of many temples. Your counsel in the coming years I will greatly appreciate. To our guild leaders, I am sure many of you are already familiar with our home and our wine. You are very welcome in this house. To our esteemed officials of the Bloodstone Kingdom and military, I look forward to working with you all to the betterment of our kingdom. Grand Master of the Order of the Golden Cup, Basra Fueling, thank you for coming. And certainly I must thank Baroness Sylvia Praca of Thoros'l for being here. I feel great gratitude that you have come, and I look forward to working with you and the other barons and baronesses in the years to come. All of you, I welcome to our home, and thank you for celebrating with us on this occasion. He takes a short pause.
As Eldrick's voice booms out over the courtyard and the silence, as he acknowledges each of the individual parties, there are a number of reactions. They're very subtle for the most part, with the exception of the Baroness Sylvia, whenever she is mentioned by name, she titters a little bit and kind of starts looking around, smiling at everyone, and is very, very clearly showing herself as pleased to have been mentioned. As what are the rest of you doing as this speech goes on?
Thoros'l. Oh, go ahead, Makaria.
I was going to say, Makaria sticking near Thoros'l's shoulder, since she knows he can see through. I'm assuming she doesn't see anything other than the furbolgs.
Looking around, everything that I've said that Thoros'l could see, Makaria also sees. So you can also see the tree that has changed.
Yeah.
You can see the furbolgs, and as you are kind of looking through the crowd, you're starting to see these odd growths. Some horns, some appear to be blisters, others appear to be just darkening patches of skin. All of them start on faces that you can see. All of them start appearing.
Sorry, I was under the impression that since he had true sight, he was the only one who saw through that. Okay. Yeah, so seeing that, Makaria is going to go back to back with Makaria and be visibly shaken as she listens to Eldrick's impassioned speech of thanking these people.
Anybody else?
Thoros'l is making his way to Alanere, ignoring the Astana and what he's seeing, and he'll try to get Alanere's attention, just like in a whispered side conversation real quick.
As you turn and you're facing, you're walking over towards Alanere, the two house guard that were previously watching the main gate have come and have taken up position here at the entrance to the courtyard. And as you notice them, you clock them, and you notice that they are both wearing snowy white capes and silver masks. Very familiar silver masks.
Yeah. At this point, Thoros'l is ignoring anything that seems out of the ordinary unless he sees a visible shift similar to Alanere's. The blue light that emanates from him is revealing something. So
okay.
It's some effort. It's some effort, but he dismisses it and continues to try to get Alanere's attention real quick.
So, at this point, as he's approaching, I probably just pushed beyond, away at, arm's length.
Okay. So she kind of gets pushed away, and there's a very clear confusion and then hurt that kind of crosses her face, and then she starts looking around, almost as though she realizes for a second that you're seeing something that she's not, and she's looking around, and becomes watchful. She kind of glances at Thoros'l, and Stana kind of turns with Thoros'l and steps up. Diergo is standing a full pace away, just enraptured with the speech that's going on. But the other two women are alerted to the fact that you are alerted and are reacting.
And yeah, on Thoros'l's approach, I'm just going to be like, something is not right.
I don't think we can trust what we see. Eldrick gave me something that can pierce illusions, but what we're seeing isn't that. I think something's in our minds.
Eldrick, please continue.
Am I seeing all the crazy wackadoo pustule head stuff that these guys are seeing?
You're not seeing all of the faces changing, but but you do notice as you're kind of looking out over the crowd and you're noticing that people are reacting to your speech. You sense movement amongst, like, more than just the crowd itself kind of tightening in to listen to the speech. There's a good deal more movement beneath the tree, and then it's at this point that you recognize or you see the tree and the dramatic change in the tree. But as you are kind of looking around, you kind of catch yourself falter in your speech for just an instant. You take that pause and you notice a number of figures that are kind of milling through the group, and they all have coal black skin. There are 7 of them that are moving through kind of the back end of the crowd that have taken up positions around a number of the attendees. And you just catch glimpses of them as they're moving through the crowd, but you're very clearly seeing 7 black-skinned figures in heavy, dark cloaks, and then you see the glint of steel.
And none of the guests seem to be reacting to this?
All eyes are on you.
Do I see Thoros'l?
You do not. Through the press of the crowd, and given that he is as far away as he is, you likely do not actually see him.
Eldrick will take a brave step forward to command the audience, but he's really trying to get himself between everything else and his mother, and continue his speech. I assume the crowd is not reacting to any of this at all.
Again, all eyes are entirely on you. You can make an insight check if you like.
I actually very much like to do so. If I can find the friggin' browser that has my dice roller, and then that will be a +7. 16 total, 9 on the die.
The faces that are staring back at you are just enraptured with the speech that you were giving. You know, some are amused, some are less so, some are considerably more serious, but all of them appear to have their full attention on you. There's a quadrant over on this side of the house that are the folk that you would expect to be the most alert in any given setting, because this is the military, and they are not reacting to the sight of these dark-skinned figures moving around behind the rest of this group. But again, they are very very much focused on your speech.
Eldrick's gonna take a deep breath, like he's searching for the words. But while he's doing that, he's actually going to use message to hit one of the dark-skinned figure over there to see if the magic actually, or the effect actually takes effect.
You send the message. There's no response. What do you say?
I see you. Why are you here? I'm more looking for whether or not I feel like an effect actually happened, because you have to look at a person. Now, of course, I have no idea what's actually going on. But Eldrick's hoping, if this is an illusion that he's hallucinating, that he won't feel the effect happen.
You absolutely feel the effect happen, and the person, the figure that you sent the message to, hesitates, like stops, and turns to face you. And you recognize the face. It is Thoros'l. He's standing directly between Miranda and the Baroness Sylvia. And he stops and he gives you a wink and a smile, and then turns and moves back through the crowd.
That's bad. That's super bad. All right, Eldrick's going to continue, but he is definitely searching for Thoros'l with his eyes.
Go ahead and make me a perception check. If you're actively looking for him.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah, and make me a perception check. But go ahead and also make me, as you're doing this, make me a charisma check, just a flat charisma check. as you are attempting to maintain your composure in the face of all of this, and not let on to your guests or the intruders that you are disturbed, I guess.
All right. The perception check is going to be a 17 total.
Okay.
And then just a straight charisma check.
Straight up charisma. Yeah, straight up charisma check.
And then the charisma check is going to be a 14.
Okay.
So I falter a little.
All right. So you feel as you're kind of, you feel the silence from your pause kind of stretching on a bit as you're watching through this, and you send the message and you see the reaction of Thoros'l. You kind of, as you see Thoros'l, you kind of glance off to your left, and you see Thoros'l with his back to you, talking to Alanere. And you see two of the black-skinned figures break off and start heading toward that cluster. As two drow figures kind of break off from the rest of the group, and still underneath the shadow of the tree begin to approach the four individuals on this side of the courtyard.
Eldrick tries to play off his pause, and he says, quieter than one would expect for somebody who's commanding a crowd. I've traveled very far. He's going to pause for a second. He's going to hit Thoros'l with a message. 7 drow in the crowd. I don't know if they're real. I thought I saw Thoros'l, but I don't know if it's real or not. And then he's going to go back to his speech.
You said Thoros'l, but there was a little bit of a skip in the audio, and it sounded like you said some asshole.
I'll be honest, that's what I think of everything at the time. I think of that character.
Wrong.
Not wrong. You're right, Ellen. All right. Anyway, okay. And then Eldrick's going to continue with his speech. Should I do so, or let Thoros'l freak out?
How do you react, Thoros'l?
Thoros'l.
Thanks. I'll glance around, but I'm gauging more what I see. I don't know. Tell me what I see.
You as you look, you turn around and look back towards where Eldrick is. You do see a trio of silver masked figures that are they're creeping in your direction with blades drawn from beneath the tree. They're essentially just behind this line. There's a halfling woman that is standing next to the Baroness Sylvia, and there's a man in white, like priestly vestments, standing next to 2 dwarves, and they were basically standing with them. These white cloaked, silver masked figures turn basically in unison and have naked blades and start moving in your direction.
And they're like moving past these other guests.
Well, there's
or near.
There's very few people standing between you and them. But yes,
Right.
It's like they're standing behind the kind of wall of the crowd, and they just turn. You see the fact that they're wearing these masks, and that they have blades in hand, and they start advancing on you.
I'll nudge Alanere and point towards them.
Alanere, you see this. Makaria, you see it too.
Awesome.
Oh, let's see.
I still think it's all in our minds. But I guess be ready. I'm not drawing weapons.
Okay.
Makaria is going to hold a small glass sphere in her hand, like she's palming it.
Rolling it between her fingers like a marble.
Yeah, like she's just on edge.
Describe to Thoros'l, who can see you doing this, what that sphere entails.
Oh, it's just a small spell component.
Oh, I see. It's just it's not enchanted in any
Yeah,
way.
that one.
Got it. Okay, I thought it was one of your other items. My mistake.
Not
Nope.
enchanted yet.
All right, go ahead, Eldrick.
Um,
Oh, go ahead, Alanere. Sorry.
I'm just saying, I'm thinking of readying a spell if one of them gets close.
Well, they are advancing on you. They're
So,
maybe 30 feet away at the moment, and they're just slowly, kind of, almost shoulder to shoulder, but kind of loosely grouped together. Just silver masks and blades in hand, like blades in each hand, and they're moving toward you.
yeah, I'm just gonna be ready, but I'm not gonna ready in action.
Okay. So you were considering you are not reacting to the advancing threat or the advancing perceived threat, correct?
You put it that way.
I mean, I'm readying, but I'm not ready in an action.
Got it.
per se.
Okay.
So
Okay.
You're not.
I'm very full aware of. I see the threat and I'm ready to respond, but I'm not ready in an action.
You're watching them,
Yeah.
but you're not loading up.
I'm not
the
gonna be
Kamea
surprised.
Kamea.
Got it. Okay.
Exactly.
You're not making the
like
first move, is what I'm getting at. What I'm getting to. Like you're
Yeah.
not going
I
to
can take a few
preempt.
stabs if I have to. Yeah, I can take a few stabs.
Okay. Back to Eldrick.
Eldrick takes a second, clears his throat a little bit. I've traveled far, very far, done many things, seen many places in my few years, and I know much of the world. I've seen other worlds. I've been to the ports of Seligant, full of ships, the streets of Learbar, filled with folks so similar to those we have here in Heliogoblin. I've been to the edge of Vasa in the deep wilds, through the marshes. I've been through the Bloodstone Valley and down through our southern border. I've been miles under the world, far from here, in the drow city of Myrmidra, and I have seen many things, both beautiful and terrifying. The silvery glow of the astral sea as it goes on forever, shining into the distance from the bow of a ship, and the green stones of a world not our own. Ruling, however, is another story. I have had one of the best tutors possible, someone far more wise than one would suspect, perhaps intentionally so. But I have a great deal less years under my belt than many of those here, and many of those who have been pronounced Baron or Baroness in the past. And I would like to say that I hope many of you will lend me your counsel in the coming years as I take on this new challenge of being the Baron of Morov. It is the greatest of honors for me and certainly for my family, and I hope to speak with all of you tonight.
Eldrick,
I hope
pause.
you all have a great night.
Before you get out that last line, a massive shadow, the same shadow that you saw before, passes over the assembled party, and people react.
That's
I break.
bad.
And you say, what was your last line?
I hope you all have a great night.
As those words leave your lips, there is a loud crash sound that sounds from over here, on the far left side of the corridor or of the courtyard, as a massive creature smashes down on top of the roof of that wing of the manor on the second floor. In the torchlight, you can just barely see light reflecting off of enormous black scales, and the sound does seem to ripple through the rest of the group, the rest of the assembled parties, and as people start looking around, startled, but not exactly in fear, but just quickly or immediately startled by the loud crashing sound. As you're reacting to it, and you see this enormous scaled body smash down on top of your father's home, a large black dragon's head lowers down into the courtyard over the tree, and still maybe 50 feet away from you, you can tell that its glowing green eyes, wreathed in green flames, seek out your own. And it says in a rumbling voice, "You called, and I have answered."
Oh no!
Yes.
And
Yeah.
that is where we will end tonight's session.
Oh no!
Thank you for coming out tonight. If this is your first time watching Bloodstone, you are in for a real treat. I apologize that if you're just getting into this and you don't know what's going on, we have an entire backlog of our 21 previous episodes on our YouTube channel. If you're interested in going and checking that out, I've just put the YouTube link in the chat. Also, join our Discord if you're interested in any more of our Four Dads content. We do League of Legends streaming on Thursday, Friday, Saturday nights, and more Bloodstone every Tuesday. At least we hope so. Please join us the next time for episode 23, Eldrick's Ascension Part 3, or you called and I have answered. Perhaps we'll see what we end up titling that. Join us on Thursday and Saturday this week for Apocalypse action and League of Legends gameplay. The Four Dads will be back for more of that content. We will not be streaming this Friday, as I have other plans, and I will not be able to get back in time to do our Friday Night Fights stream. But please feel free to join us on Thursday for Apocalypse action and Saturday for what will likely be a variety stream, since it's the last Saturday of the month. We'll see how that goes. And then, of course, on the 2nd of October, 3rd of October, next Tuesday, right back here, 8 p.m. Central Time for more Bloodstone action. Again, thank you for coming. I hope you had enjoyed this as much as I did, though I don't see how that could be possible with as much as I've been looking forward to this entire setup. Cast, thank you guys. I know it's a little bit chaotic, but I hope that you guys had a good time with this as well. I will very much be looking forward to next Tuesday for part 3. Anything you want to say before we sign off for the evening?
I'm pretty sure the next stream is going to be called My Little Pony Apocalypse Dragon.
I blame everybody.
You blame Raider Steed is a completely innocuous spell. How could I have known that I was apparently going to get a death dragon? Who could have foreseen that coming?
All right, guys. Have a great rest of your Tuesday. We will see you on Thursday for Apocalypse, and right back here next Tuesday for some more Bloodstone. Have a great night. GG's.